the man behind the documentary, the Smash Brothers. If you're somehow living under a rock for the past few years and don't know about it, it's an incredible multi-part documentary series on the history of the Smash community, which, as we now know from said documentary, is very rich and storied, and was presented to us in an amazing fashion by Samox. So, thank you so much for joining me, man. How are you doing?
I'm awesome, actually. I'm very happy to be here. It's rare I get to kind of come out behind the camera and talk about the stuff that I do. So it's kind of cool. I'm totally open to questions later about whatever, and your questions as well. So let's. I feel like this is we'll nostalgize or whatever the word is for tonight. So I'm hype.
Word. Sweet. Sounds good, man. And yeah, I'm glad we kind of get to flip the script a little bit. You're always interviewing me, so now I get to interview you for once. So that should be fun. In the background, guys, I'm gonna play just some production updates from the original Smash Brothers. Shout out to Samox a few years ago. And just to have something to look at while we talk about this. So, just to start us off, sort of, I guess, set the scene of like how you first found out about Smash and where the idea from the documentary even came from in the first place.
Sure. It's so weird seeing myself with really long hair, first off. Um, I mean, I started playing Smash, I think when most people started playing Smash, which was with the original one, with the 64. And I would play against my brother, and we used to kind of go head to head. Of course, absolutely no concept of any sort of like really competitive way to play the game. Um, but this is I guess this was like 99 2000 before like Melee was even released, for the GameCube was even like out and about. So um when my brother was the one who was really into the GameCube and that whole thing, and I was moving off to college. So I didn't really hang out during his whole GameCube phase, and he got really good at Melee during this. And flash forward like after college and a few years later than that, and I've kind of gone to school for film and have gotten sick of it by going to school for it, and decided that you know the biggest thing that I learned in college was that girls like guys who play guitar and sing. So I immediately was like, yo, I should do music. Music is where it's at. It's like doesn't take as long to do like videos and stuff as it when you're like making a song, you just kind of bang it out. And I've wrote a lot of songs and really tried to make go of it. And my brother was going to Berklee School of Music out here in Boston, so I was like, "Yo, we should get together." He needed a roommate. I'll go out there and live with him, and we'll work on music together. And it didn't really work out that way. He was going to school. I kind of realized when I was like busking on the street in Boston that I actually hated it, and I really didn't enjoy like putting myself out there like that. And it kind of made me realize that I should be doing like film stuff. So um, after I bought a camera, this camera, and like the computer that I'm talking to you on. Um, I started like doing music videos and stuff, and trying to kind of make the video thing happen again. And all this time when we were living together, the only game that we had in the house was Melee, just the GameCube, just Melee. So we ended up playing that all the time, and he whooped my ass constantly, just up and down, just destroyed me. I was still jumping with up on the joystick, and I got incredibly frustrated. So eventually, he took pity on me and showed me some of the videos that kind of inspired him, which were PP and Mango and all these guys. So um, that's when I started to realize that there was like, wow, this game can be played really differently. Like I didn't understand how he was beating me until I saw like the way that you could like really kind of play this game and all the hidden techniques that were in it. So actually, it was a specific match. It was the Ken and Isaiah most three showdown. That particular grand finals, which just was like, because it would show me one match, I'd be like, wow, that was amazing, and he'd show me the next match, I was like, wow, it doesn't, the hype doesn't end, and it was just incredible, and I wanted to know who these people were, and that's kind of where the inspiration for like at least getting curious about the whole thing started.
Right. Well, that's awesome, dude. I didn't realize that that you had your own little history of Smash going on there, but that's cool to hear. I feel like a lot of people had that moment where they just realized that the game could be played so much more competitive than they ever thought. I didn't personally have that moment because we started playing it competitive with Asin and Chu and all them, but like it's cool to hear that so many people have like this epiphany when that happens of, oh my God, this game is so much deeper than I ever could have
Yeah.
expected. So
Well, it's got to be interesting from your perspective because you were like on in the beginning of it, like kind of the beginning of that competitive thing.
yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, it
it's funny.
definitely it makes it different because there was no, I mean, there was no like moment like that for me. It was kind of a gradual thing where I guess if that
Right.
moment existed for me, it was when I first met Asin and played him in Smash 64 and he started kicking
Yeah.
our ass and I was like, "Oh my God, this is how this game can be played." So, Um, so when did the I guess the pre-production and all that start on the documentary? Like when did you start planning on the specifics of what you were gonna do with it?
I guess January 2011 is when I started really thinking about this idea, and I actually just like rediscovered one of my old notebooks, where I was like making notes and like trying to figure out the names for the episodes, how to divide them up, how to divide up the history. Um, so I guess it was like early January. I started writing things down and sort of planning them out. I think there's actually a shot in the last update of the timeline that I had, which I like put up on my wall. It was just a big long piece of paper, and I was like, these are the things that happened when at various points of time, and what were the importance of them as far as like Smash history goes.
Right.
Um, so I kind of had like a visualization, and that whole writing process, the pre-production, kind of took me up to the summer where I was like, all right, I want to do this for real. I gotta raise some money, and the only way that people are gonna take me seriously is this awesome camera, and I'm really serious about it. So that's when I did that really silly pilot episode, which I was in, and which I think you saw, and
Yeah.
I think I sent that to you, right?
Yeah, yeah. I still I brought that up when I started doing the reviewing of the documentary. Like I did like a little prologue of like looked at your message you originally sent me, and it just so happened that when I got that PM, Asin and Mild were like over and like playing Smash, and we all watched that episode, like that pilot episode together, and like died laughing at all these like actors talking about like, oh man, Ken was like unbelievable, and it's like, dude, you weren't there. Who are you? That shit
I
cracked me
know.
up.
They were so bad, so bad. I mean, we were all terrible actors, and it's just I it was just like a painful thing that I had to do to like kind of show people, okay, I know this sucks, but it's gonna be a lot cooler when I got to actually talk to like real smashers and stuff. So,
Right, right.
but I was glad because like PPMD was one of the first people. Also, you who were like, this could be something. Um, and kind of people got on my side because of it. I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
I currently have it hidden because it's so bad that I just don't want people to see it right
That's
now.
what
But
that would was gonna be my next question. Can we please
yeah,
see the pilot episode?
I I think after the next project comes out, I think I'll be comfortable enough to release it
Okay.
and show the world the dirty laundry that is in my past. But
Oh man,
so
I
it's
can't wait. It's so good.
It's yeah. I mean, it's funny
uh,
because there are people that actually there's like one section of it where people. I remember people were after they watched like like the second episode, which is like a lot about like you going after you and Ken, kind of that fight at Game Over,
right.
and people were liking some of the graphics that I did in the pilot more than in Smash Brothers. I was like,
Wow,
oh man. So
that's
I guess
hilarious.
there's some like Easter eggs in that, some good stuff.
Sweet. Yeah, I don't remember it too specifically because we only watched it once or twice, but I just remember the specifically the actor parts being hilarious of like the interviews of
Yeah,
these people talking about their crazy time at Game Over who had
yeah,
never
they're
seen
fake.
before. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's awesome. I remember The filming process definitely took you a long time, but I always, whenever I talk about the documentary these days, I always give you props because I feel like you really didn't rush into anything, and you probably had a lot of pressure on you to release it with like how many different people you were going to and interviewing. Like I'm sure you got a lot of questions. Oh, hey, when is that, actually coming out or whatever. But and it took like I said a couple of years to actually get to that point, but like I said, I'm so happy that you did take the time because I feel like it turned out amazing. So I guess, do you want to talk about like that process of like, did you ever like feel like you needed to get it out sooner, or were you like pretty comfortable taking your time with it?
It was one of those things where it's like there's certain times in your life when you have a project or something you have to do that like you have to do it a certain way or your life's just not going to be complete, I guess. And this was one of those things where it's like I was really passionate about it. I could see it in my mind and
Uh-oh.
watch it. I didn't want to like make it. Oh, is there a problem?
It stuttered for a second, but go ahead. I think you're good now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It was one of these things where like, I wanted to watch the final product, and I knew that if it was screwed up or if I didn't do it like properly, I would not be enjoying the product. Like I wouldn't watch it and enjoy myself. So um, I knew I had to kind of take my time on it, and it actually wasn't until I got appendicitis, um, when I had time off from my retail job, when I was like, wow, this is not something I can just half-ass because, I took the time off. I had like a month or something when I was like essentially just in my room and working on some early drafts of stuff like the in the first episode when it says like a brief history of Smash, and it's like that old timey voice and that little like intro section.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I did that. I did that when I had appendicitis. That was one of the first things I
Oh,
did,
word.
and like I realized in doing that it would take a lot of time just working on editing and stuff to get the whole thing done. So that was kind of the impetus for me to quit my job and just, I got to put everything I have into this right now, or it's never going to get done properly.
Right, right. Damn. Well, that's awesome, man. I think that takes a lot of like inspiration and a lot of guts as well, but I'm again like so happy that you went through with it the way you did because the documentary, as everyone I'm sure that's seen it can attest to, is an incredible representation of the history. And I mean, obviously to some extent like there's stuff that could have been in there that isn't and stuff like that, but I feel like given the material that you had, you probably did like pretty much the ideal job of putting in what you had time to put in. So
Yeah.
all that
Well,
considered, dude, great
yeah. I
work on
mean,
that.
there was one section actually that involves you and Asin and in teams, which I ended up having to cut, due to time and because I just couldn't. After about the Isaiah episode, I just couldn't cover teams as much comprehensively or in the proper way that I wanted to.
Right.
Um, and that is actually out there in the hidden section for donors and stuff. I'll probably release that little section at some point.
Sweet. That's awesome. Yeah, that's one of the like I guess biggest complaints that I would have. Like I don't have any complaints with the documentary, but if I had one, it would be that teams kind of I mean, you definitely talk about teams toward the beginning, but it kind of like fades out toward the end. But
It
to
does.
be fair, that kind of is a fair representation of how teams was treated and it still is treated. And so it
It's
kind
a
of
good representation.
yeah, exactly. It makes sense. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, so I once again like feel like the end result was incredible and captured really everything that I would want to see from the documentary. So that brings me to a very interesting topic, and I'm sure something that's on a lot of people in the chat's minds. The upcoming sequel, Smash Brothers Armada. So, can you give us, I guess, a general update of what we're looking at? Like, I know that I feel like with the old documentary, you didn't necessarily. I don't know if you did this on purpose, but I don't remember you telling me specifically like the format of, oh, it's gonna be like one God per episode or one,
Yeah.
Smash Brother per episode. And I feel like because you did that, it kind of made it like the interviews more honest in a way. Like I'm not trying to like specify my interview toward this format that you told me that the documentary is going to be. So if you don't want to give away too much, I understand. But what can you tell us about how the next documentary is going to look?
Well, I can definitely tell you that it's it's aimed at modern melee, and that includes a lot of Armada. It includes Mango, PP, Mewtwo King, and Hungrybox. The five gods, the era of the gods. I guess that's the kind of where the meat of the documentary takes place. So beginning 2007 and on, and that's it's a different beast entirely because I'm trying to make it a movie instead of this episodic thing.
Right.
So the pacing is different. The way that you kind of construct storylines is way different, and you need a lot more footage, I think, um, to kind of create the stories that need to be told. Um, I don't know if I can really talk about anything more specific than that, just because I hate to say anything about like stuff that I'd rather say in the art itself. Um, but I think it's about five gods, and yeah, that's it.
Fair enough. Fair
Sorry.
enough.
I wish I could. I wish I could go into more specifics. And if anybody has,
Right.
other questions in the Q and A, I might talk about more stuff or anything specific questions. But
Right.
I'll
Right.
probably dance around a lot of the answers
Yeah.
that people would want me to say.
Fair enough, and I can't blame you.
No,
We'll just save that for the private chat afterward. No, I'm just kidding.
sure.
But what I can ask about is who have you already interviewed? Like I know you went to Sweden,
Yeah.
and I think you went to PP's place and HBox's place as
Mhm.
well as Cali, if I remember correctly. So
Yeah.
have you already hit all five gods at this point?
I think I've hit all five gods in one form or another. Um, I got to spend a lot of time with Mango, and it was great because I got to be at his son's first birthday,
Oh,
um,
nice.
which was a great experience, and got to meet his whole family. Um, there are specific people that I have that I really need to talk to that are on my list. But yeah, I went to like Sweden was amazing. I got to talk with a lot of like there's some old school smashers there that you might know. You know Helios, right?
Yeah, yeah, Helios. I remember him for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Sat down with him and talked at length. So that was great. I got to talk to Mike Hagar, a few other Swedish smashers like Rocky. I talked to Leffen there. I talked to Armada for days, days and days and days. Like it was awesome because he was in Alliance at that point, and they the Dota team in Gothenburg was like, "Yo, come over to our awesome pad and shoot your interviews here."
Oh,
So
really?
we got to go over to their Dota place
Wow.
and like shoot there, which was so cool. So
That's awesome, dude.
um, yeah, very shout outs to Alliance for being so cool. Um, and shout outs to Armada for letting me sleep on his floor for like more than a week. So really cool dude, and glad I got to do that. But then I went and did the same thing essentially. A little less time on PPMD's floor, and then HBox's couch. And actually, no, PP had the most amazing couch, I'll have to say, I've ever slept on. It is incredible. Anybody's ever stayed at PP's house, he has the greatest couch ever. Like it's amazing. It's like three beds in one. It's crazy. Um,
uh, that's awesome.
so yeah, but I have a lot of them in the can. I really want to kind of do some interviews and stuff because the thing about this particular documentary is it's different. I knew the history in its entirety almost for everything that I did in the Smash Brothers, but for this one, it's like I'm shooting a lot of history that's like evolving now. So
Right.
it's like I don't know the story beforehand, and I have to kind of
Yeah.
anticipate storylines that are going to happen and stuff. So I really want to kind of get a lot more footage so that I can have potential depth and find things later. So
Right.
it's a different beast, but I feel like I've been here before, so at least know what I'm in for, which is a
Right.
lot of editing.
For sure. Well, I guess my next question would be, since Mewtwo King already had his own episode and was very heavily featured in his own right in the first Smash Brothers series. Do you think that he'll be less featured? Not only necessarily because of that, but to be fair, he's probably the out of all of the five gods, he's the one that's won the least majors and has probably done, I guess, not necessarily done the worst out of the five gods, but does the least, I guess, makes the least headlines with how what he does in tournaments these days, especially in melee. So, do you think all that combined will lead to him being a little bit less of a factor in the upcoming doc, even though it is about the five gods?
It's That's definitely a very good inference to make. He doesn't make as big of a land a big as big of a punch necessarily in the majors as he once did, but just because he has that status as God, he's definitely going to be featured. Um, but yeah, you're right. He probably won't be as featured as much as say a Mango Armada PP. You know, uh, it was crazy actually. Paragon. I was just kind of blown away by the whole like the levels of play. Like I consistently am blown away by seeing how well like the Moon will do or DJ Nintendo, and then like there's like another tier and then another tier and another tier up of skill above that. So it kind of it takes me aback every time. Like, and then HBox like kind of that grand finals was actually everybody was kind of like poo-pooing that grand finals, but like I needed that. My heart could not take an intense grand finals anymore. I was like,
Yeah,
whew. So, but
that
yes,
is true.
that's a good inference about M2K as far as the
Right.
project is concerned.
Okay. Fair enough. And so I guess another big question on everyone's mind, and possibly not one that you can answer very straightforward. When can we expect the Smash Brothers Armada?
That's the most often or the question I get most often is that, and it's unfortunately like the most vague answer because a lot of it depends on sort of the footage that I get. If I get a satisfactory story from the footage that I have by this summer, um, I will be you know maybe have a final product by this fall, this winter. It's probably wishful thinking and probably most likely be middle of next year.
Okay.
If not, then the end of next year. So worst case
Okay.
scenario, end of next year, which is
Okay.
actually what I put on the Kickstarter thing.
Oh,
So I
nice.
thought ahead. Thought ahead.
There you go.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, guys, that like I said about how long it took for the first series, it was 100% worth the wait. So let this man take his time to do his work. It's definitely worth the wait.
Yeah, you'll
Um,
appreciate it.
yeah, for sure. Um, so I guess I'm trying to think of other questions that I can ask about the new documentary that you won't necessarily shoot down. So it's gonna be it's gonna be you said more of like a like feature film format. Are you shooting for any specific length of time?
It's I used to do for a very brief period of time. I worked for the Mill Valley Film Festival, doing sort of like judging films,
Oh, okay.
um, and they had like criteria for what is a feature, what is a short film, and for it to be considered a feature, it needs to be at least an hour long. I don't know if that's like an official,
Okay.
need at least an hour to be a feature, but
Right.
that was kind of the criteria that I was going by. It'll definitely be more than an hour, at least 90 minutes, between 90 and 120 minutes, I'd say, is
Okay.
what I would shoot for.
Sweet.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's about what I was thinking, and man, I'm so excited for it. Like, I'm sure, like like you said, you probably don't even know what the storyline's gonna end up being yet because like so much is still changing and evolving, like and happening, like the history is unfolding before our eyes, kind of thing. So, especially at Apex, do you want to talk about Apex and was that like I know it was kind of a nightmare for like everyone, but for you, was it just like a dream of, oh my God, this is like the ideal footage right now?
Well, it became that as soon as the tournament itself was like starting again. I was like,
Oh,
okay,
okay.
because I honestly like I needed some kind of something like Apex, which was like the biggest Smash Brothers tournament of all time at that point, which has now been I guess surpassed, going to be surpassed,
Yeah,
now
but
surpassed by Evo. Um, but like that was like a very important thing because there were a lot of storylines that were going to come together. Side note, it's really funny now that I see like I just remember this happening like before Apex. Everyone was like, the storylines, so the storylines that are going to be feeding into this, and I don't know if that's just like esports or what, but like I see that now thrown around a lot, like storylines, like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's kind of cool. I like that, but it was true for me, and I needed it to happen, and I was kind of freaking out a little bit when it wasn't going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like thinking like, oh, what can I do? Is there like I was floated around the idea of you know, putting together like a round robin between the top five in a hotel room or something like that, and
Oh,
filming
man.
it and just kind of getting them together to talk, which would be still kind of cool. I don't know if that's in the cards still, but we'll see what happens. That was my like kind of um, last ditch make something happen out of this trip kind of thing. But I the fact that the Smash community came up and was able to kind of pull themselves out of that situation uh, is an amazing story, and I'm glad that I was able to get a lot of it on film. Um, I'm ambivalent as to whether that it was a good thing, but I think because it would have been great if we just got that venue originally and just kind of had 3 days to chill back and do a lot of friendlies and stuff.
Right,
Who
right.
knows what would have happened if we'd had a regular tournament? But
True. Yeah,
you know,
could have been different. Well, regardless, I think it's gonna make for an a very, very exciting scene in the in the
yeah,
Smash Brothers
yeah.
Armada. And what you just said actually, well, first of all, shout out to Unknown Cactus for the sub. Thank you. Welcome to the Illuminati. Second of all, what you said about the idea that you had actually reminded me. I don't know if this was real or like a hoax or what, but I saw a Facebook event listing of a like top secret tournament featuring like the top six or whatever, and like you were gonna be there filming it. And was there any truth to that rumor? Is that still something that could? Because I honestly thought it sounded like a really sick idea. To
Yeah.
be fair.
It I created that as like kind of like to get hype and stuff and I invited them all to do it. And you could tell that this is in my head. This is in the back of my head. I want this to happen. And I've been wanting it to happen actually since like way back in the day. Like when I was making the Smash Brothers, I wanted to get all seven of those guys in a room. Ken, Az, and Isaiah. That was my original like, oh, it would be a great kind of like thing to do. Get them all
Right.
together, have them play, and just
Yeah.
talk or whatever. Um, so obviously that's still an idea that's just I keep kicking around, but the feasibility of it is always kind of I don't know.
Mm,
It's like
hard to
we'll see what
arrange.
happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, hard to arrange. I think it would be awesome. So and judging by the response that people kind of gave, they thought that too. It's just that as soon as I started thinking about it, it's like all these guys essentially play each other all the time. In top eights of all at various tournaments under like way more intense situations. So it
Right.
wasn't worthwhile to spend that money and effort. I think to do on that where I could spend it elsewhere and get
Right.
more footage or go interview more people. So I
Yeah.
ended
Yeah.
up kind of shifting away from that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, understandable, and it's true that they play each other often enough. And I think one of the appealing things parts about it was the fact that they'd be like living together for a few days, and it might like make for like some entertaining out of game footage for sure. But
Yes.
I think you
Yes.
get plenty of those interactions just going to tournaments and stuff like that anyway. So I definitely think that while it's a really cool idea, it's a little bit far-fetched. So. I can understand
Yeah.
why it didn't end up coming to fruition there.
Yeah. It's like those the I saw somebody did like a what was it, like Melee High School or something like that or Smash High School. It was like a fake manga or something like the
Right, right.
kids of the top five or whatever all go to school together.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought that was hilarious.
Yeah,
Clearly,
yeah.
the idea has some merit or some attractiveness.
For sure, for sure. All right, well, I think we are about ready to move into questions from the chat. Um, So, guys, we're gonna take a quick break for like 2 minutes or so, and then we'll be right back with Q&A. So this is your chance finally to ask Samox questions that he will artfully dodge. I'm just kidding. But he'll definitely answer as much as he can, and the more specific your questions are, the better probably. So
Yeah.
think up your questions, guys. We will be back in just a couple minutes with Q&A featuring the homie Samox. All right. All right. Welcome back, everyone. Nostalgia Nights continues with my very special guest, Samox, aka the producer and creator of the documentary. Um, we are now moving into Q&A. So this is your opportunity to ask whatever questions you might have of Samox, or of me regarding the documentary, since that is this week's theme. The documentary, and of course the upcoming sequel, the Smash Brothers Armada. If you guys have any questions about that, feel free to shoot. What was my opinion of the narrator on the Smash Brothers documentary? Personally, I didn't think it was bad at all, but other viewers thought differently. I didn't think he was a bad narrator. I don't know. I feel like narrator's voice could be a little more appealing for narration specifically, but I don't think he did a bad job. How did you feel about the narrator, Sam Ox? Wasn't that a friend of yours?
Yeah, actually, I had done music videos for him. He's actually a Scottish um, musician
Oh,
and
okay.
singer-songwriter. His name is Robert Gillies. He went by the pseudonym Mr. Sushi for the narration, and he's a great guy. I actually loved his interview. Sorry, his narration. In my mind, it was perfect for the. It was kind of like serious, but it had a tint of like, melodrama to it that I thought kind of like added a little something that I needed for the project. So this
Right.
time around, I probably won't actually have a narrator. At least I'm aiming to not have a narrator because I want the people themselves to tell the stories.
Right.
Um, but we'll see. We'll see. This it's a whole new project, and like I said, the pacing and everything kind of needs to be different. So we'll see kind of what the stories call for.
Right. Um, Here's a pretty good question. Seobot asks, Samox, how did you get an interview with Isaiah?
That was like the most serendipitous one. He was really hard to kind of convince to do an interview at first. And I eventually was just like, well, let's, you know, instead of doing an on camera thing, let's just sit down, have lunch, and I'll bring a tape recorder. And he seemed to be much more responsive to the idea of, just kind of us talking. And originally I said, like, he didn't want to talk about Melee. So we just kind of, I kind of stuck to that. We just sort of talked about random stuff. Um, we started, this, I think it was like a Mexican restaurant near the old Apex 2012 venue. And then we moved into this very quiet part of the venue and just sat and talked for hours. And I didn't do much besides listen and talk a little bit here and there with him and just make jokes and stuff. And he just started telling me more about himself and about his life. Oh yeah, just I mean the fact that I had that area to myself, I think made a big difference. Just us alone, away from all the craziness, made him much more comfortable and made the whole interview work. I think.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah, I definitely
Yeah.
think that the Isaiah, the fact that, I don't know, the fact that it's audio only almost works like extra well for Isaiah. Like, it almost makes sense that he's not on video for the interview in a weird way. So,
It's true.
um, someone asked Samox, what is it like to have Neil Patrick Harris as a brother?
It's pretty cool. He joins Quentin Tarantino, Conan O'Brien, Beavis. Um, Sometimes nice older ladies think I look like Orlando Bloom or Justin Timberlake, which I much prefer. Uh, but when I look in the mirror, I just see every single one of those people just mushed together. Um, yeah, actually, it's really funny when I put on a before he was known for his like suit and stuff from How I Met Your Mother. I In one Halloween when I was walking around with my roommates and then girlfriend at this kind of Halloween parade, I had a gynecologist coat on, which is essentially just like a white lab coat. So everybody thought I was Doogie Howser. So
Word.
it helps get
Nice.
interviews.
Sweet. Um, Here's a pretty good question. I guess I'll just paraphrase because it's kind of long. Basically, how do you feel about Mango's thoughts on his episode? And do you think that you'll try to, I don't know, do something in the upcoming documentary to sort of fix what he thought were the problems with his episode?
I mean, I totally respect his perspective on his own episode. He's got a particular way that he wants to be portrayed, or that he maybe thinks that I portrayed him wrong. Um, and That's fine. Everybody, kind of has their own opinion, especially when they see themselves put up there and stuff. I think he mostly had a problem with, you know, it made him sort of look like a drunk, or just had too much H box in it. Um, and that was his perspective. We actually did talk about it in this round of interviewing, um, and yeah, I think this will probably be closer to kind of what he had in mind um, as far as his sections go. Um, but yeah, I think that's
Okay.
yeah. I think you'll like this one a little more.
Right. Okay. Sounds good. Um, let's see. What videos that with Samox? The videos that are being played are from Samox's channel, which is East Point Pictures. Make sure you guys check that out, and I'll also link that in the YouTube description once I put that on YouTube. But these are production updates from the original Smash Brothers. Oh damn, this is the part when they were playing the card game at FC. That game was crazy.
That was crazy. I remember you actually. I have footage of you and was it Waddy
Oh yeah, yeah.
yelling at each other
Oh
about
yeah, about
the
the football.
Packers?
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
God, dude. Oh man,
That
that
was
was
awesome.
hilarious. What? I thought Wadi was gonna actually kill me.
He was, yeah. I actually, I, I don't know. That footage is just really funny. I gotta find a way to use it again.
uh, um, okay. Someone wants to know, out of all the gods, why did you choose Armada to name the doc after, the sequel after?
Well, I'll just use this opportunity now to say that the Smash Brothers Armada is a working title. Um, it's not going to be called that when it comes out, um, just because it has nothing to do with the Smash Brothers, the series. It's not another episode, and I blame myself for this. As far as because of the way people were like, what kind of got me interested in doing it again was people were all like, oh, I should do an episode on Armada. I was like, oh, I'll just call it that when I'm like raising funds.
Right, right.
Um, but it's a working title. It's its own project. It's its own thing, which is I think will serve the whole project much more than to try to like connect it to the other one. Um, so yeah, I'm not going to tell you what it's called right now. Some people actually do know what it is, but I'm just trying to keep it on the DL for now. But eventually it'll get out there and we'll know what it is.
Sweet. Sounds
Yeah.
good. Um, Legit question. Why did D1 not receive an interview? And would you ever look into a doc about the behind the scenes commentary guys? Oh, like a documentary on like the, I guess, figureheads of the Smash scene. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, so many people, TOs, casters, a lot of these guys deserve like their own documentaries and stuff because they all kind of fill different niches and have different challenges than playing in high level matches and stuff. Um, I actually I've been trying to talk to D1 for this project. I didn't get around to talk to him for the last one. I don't know why. I think it was just because I had enough footage at that point. It's like, all right, I got the footage I need. I'm gonna
Right,
do this. And once I made that decision, it was like I don't need anything else. So,
right, right.
um, but I definitely do want to talk to him this time around. And we were going to talk at Apex, but it was so crazy. It's just it didn't end up happening. So even though we both kind of got snowed in, which was a much needed thing, I got stuck at the Apex venue, um, and it was a blessing in disguise because I had spent the whole day, before 10 hours or so, just doing this with the camera, and for all my like knowledge about how to do camera stuff, like I didn't have a tripod, I didn't have a mod pod, I didn't have anything to like set me up for that amount of time. So I really, my shoulder was killing me,
Mm.
and I spent the next day just like sitting in the hot tub, just with D1 and Mango and his crew, and we were just kind
Oh
of like
yeah,
chilled out at the venue.
nice.
So it was very good. I'm glad that they had a hot tub at that place. So,
Sweet.
yeah.
Um, Pretty good question. Will Gimmer be featured in this project?
Yeah, more than likely. I mean, I've hung out with him so much. I've filmed him a lot. Yeah, at the very least, he will be, uh, you know, in the background. But I'm hoping to kind of talk to him a little bit more. Um, there's so many different stories to be told, so many different perspectives you can have on this situation or on Smash in general. So, if I do interview him, I might only use a tiny piece because it's only relevant to one storyline or something like that. But
Right.
um, we'll see. We'll see. I would love to talk to him. He's an awesome dude, and
Yeah, for sure.
definitely deserves his own documentary.
Let's see. Someone asked, I guess me, if I could change one thing in the Smash Brothers series, would it be? And I've already answered that many times. I wish there was more teams coverage, but like we concluded, it's kind of fitting that there isn't that the team's coverage isn't very prominent. Here's a good one. Samox, how did you select the music that you use? Personally, I thought it all fit very well, especially the song used for the MLG showdowns.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, there was a period in my life where I didn't want to do video and film, and I wanted to do music. So, and my family's very musical, so we were like, always like kind of devouring tracks and trying to find stuff. And my brother, being a Berkeley alum, had all these connections with these really great musicians. Lord Dinosaur, who I think has the best name I've ever heard. It's He produced like the track Fitzbonovich Gentonio. His tracks always have the craziest names. Fitzbonovich Gentonio is the name of the song that plays when PC and Ken are kind of having their showdown at MLG
Mm.
Anaheim, I want to say. Um, and so, like, I got into contact with these guys through my brother, and my brother, like, hooked me with him, a few other people. There's also a website called APM Music where you can get licensed music. Excuse me, Incompetech. Um, a lot of where this guy Kevin McLeod, however you say that. He actually produces music that's you can use and on YouTube videos, and he won't take your money
Right.
essentially.
Oh, okay.
Side note: I don't make any money off of any of the documentary things, so because I ended up using some tracks that are content ID'd on YouTube,
Mm.
so I don't get any of that money from that. Which again, I didn't come
That
out like to try to make.
sucks.
I know. I didn't try to make any money off of it. So and I kind of came in knowing that. So
Right, right,
uh, it was fine by me. But
right.
it is something to know if you are a content creator. Find music that you can get just royalty free, license free, and you can like Monster Cat is there. There's a few others you can find, so you don't have to. If you're looking to become like a content creator on YouTube, that's very important to find music that's not like owned by somebody else or they're gonna knock you for.
Right, right. Okay. Pretty good quick question. What is your favorite episode of the doc?
That's so tough. They're all awesome. I love them so much. I think my favorite episode, my stock answer is always the Isaiah one because I feel like that one thematically is the best put together. It's like you learn about this guy and then it kind of all comes to a head at most, and kind of where the emotions all kind of come through, and just the way that it was set up and the way I edited it, I was very proud of the way it kind of came about. Um, I love Mango's episode actually. I love that one a lot just because it kind of profiles them. And actually, the Mango episode I think is closest to the way that uh, the new documentary is going to be paced because it's more like in one place or like kind of moves. It's in a singular physical location. So that one I loved. Again, I love them all. Like the end of Korean DJ's episode with the Gerudo Valley orchestral
Oh
version.
yeah.
Are you kidding? I love that song. It's so great. It's so awesome.
That's one of my favorite scenes for sure.
Yeah, you see
I
like
love that part.
Chu like putting in his name and like Chu Dad and like
Yeah,
Asin
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
so cool. So
Yeah, yeah. That part
yeah.
was awesome for sure. Um,
Yeah.
I think someone asked, will wife appear again in the new doc?
I would love to talk to him again. Actually, I want to make a swing by MDVA. Your wife's still down there, right?
Yeah, he's right near me, so definitely come down soon. And
Yeah, we definitely need to talk, you and me, and I'd love to talk to wife again, just because he might not have been as strong in the scene at that period, but he's just the way he talks about the game is always great.
oh yeah,
So
he's extremely eloquent and has a way
yeah,
with words, to say the
he really
least.
does. He really does.
Um, it is kind of funny that wife you interviewed wife like what on the same day that you interviewed me, right? So like, or was it? Because I feel like
Did
you
I?
went. Because I remember you telling me like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go from here to interview wife, and I remember telling you make sure you ask about his match with Ken.
It might have been. I can't remember if it was. I might have ended up just kind of taking the rest of the day off because
Oh, okay.
sometimes interviews are like exhausting.
Right, right.
But it's very possible that I just because
I was
actually
gonna say because it ended up being that one might have been like that single day ended up producing like half the footage that you used in the documentary.
it's true. It's true. Sometimes, dude, like. You sit down with one interviewee and you get like, it takes 3 hours and you get like 2 minutes, or not even 2 minutes, like, 2 seconds. I sat down with PP for a long time, and I literally used like the tiniest little snippet where he talks about Mango and Mewtwo King, and their kind of different play styles, and that was it. Like, I didn't use anything else from my interview with PP. So,
Mm,
um, and that's not to say that the interview wasn't good. Actually, the one with PP was really good. It's just that the things that we ended up talking about didn't have any relevance to certain things. So I might end up like pulling from those parts of the interviews that I didn't end up using, and they're still great in reference to the stuff I'm going to cover. So
right. That'd be cool to see.
yeah.
Um, let's see. Samox, what do you think about False's Brawl Doc, and would you ever work with him on video production? Have you heard about that? Have
I think I saw the thread on that. It was like he's going to do a project. I think DM, or not DM. Doom. Doom. Is that right?
Yeah,
Is
yeah, Doom.
involved too.
Mm-hmm. Doom.
Um, yeah, a few other people. I'd love to see Zero involved in that too. I have nothing to do with that. I will give him all of my energy and all of my spirit as a
Right,
fellow documentarian, and I can't wait to see it because I don't know anything about Brawl. I'd love
right, right.
to hear the history of it,
Yeah.
uh, and I would love to kind of watch that. You know, uh, if our paths cross, I'm sure, because I love his stuff. I've watched all of his you know Smash Theory,
Oh yeah,
his
yeah.
videos. So well made, really really good. And so I anything he does I will definitely watch. And if we end up working together in the future, I'm sure we'll do something awesome.
Sweet. Um, any general advice you'd give to people trying to make a documentary for their own video game community? Any things to remember throughout the whole process? Any particular way to approach it all?
I mean, every community is different. Everyone has their own stories and stuff. I guess the thing you can always keep in mind is, as long as you have the vision, um, and the passion to see that vision through. If you don't really like, if you're not willing to, like, fight homeless people with AIDS needles to make sure that you get your documentary done, you might not see it through to the end. You might like flake out. So, you know, you got to be serious. You got to know how much of yourself you're willing to put into it. And if you're staying up thinking about it, if you're drawing things on the wall like I was doing, diagramming stuff, trying to find every little facet of a story, you're probably on the right track. You're probably obsessed, and that's good. You need to be obsessed if you want it to be done the way that you see it in your head. Um, you can very easily, because there were so many. This is the thing that actually kind of heartened me and gave me like, oh man, this hasn't been done yet, because there were documentaries that had been tried or that had been started and just never saw the light of day, or were kind of subpar when they came out about Smash.
Hmm.
And I knew that I couldn't do that. There was just no way that I was just going to let it flop or come out and not be done.
Right.
Because I was just obsessed with it, and I knew that a part of myself would just die if I didn't do it properly. So if you're passionate enough about it, um, then I think you'll see it through. No, knowing something about story structure, that's important. If you don't know about it, or if you just want a refresher, my Bible is um, Story by Robert McKee. I've said it before, I'll say it again. It's not the end all be all, but it's definitely a good foundation. Um, so if you don't know a lot about story, or how to construct something like that, that's a good place to start.
Sweet.
Uh,
Um, in the documentary, will you discuss the rise of players such as Leffen, Amsa, Axe, and Hax as some of the first people to ever contest the Five Gods? Especially with Amsa and Axe being low tier mains.
I love Amsa and Axe. They're great guys. And there a lot of in any kind of like project like this, there's it takes place over time, and the rivalries change, the dominance changes and stuff. And one of the parts of any story is the rise and fall of a lot of different players. So for sure, Leffen's going to be involved. For sure, Hax is going to be involved. Axe, yeah, all these guys. I mean, they were. If you saw them on stage at Apex, they'll probably feature in some way. Just a good rule of thumb, I guess. If they
Right.
were up there in the under the lights, they'll probably feature in some way.
Right. Sweet. Let's see. Is there any mention of Project M in the doc? I don't see why that would be the case, but
Yeah, it's. I mean, I would love to. I'm actually going to play Project M this weekend with a friend of mine. But it probably won't feature as much just because, like I said, there are a million different topics to cover in Smash, and you can only put so much in a story and have it be coherent.
right.
After a certain point, it's like you're just all over the place, and you're not covering what you need to cover in order to have a fulfilling story to watch. So,
What is this
I'm
video, by the way?
this is this was me skipping out on a an update. I was bored and I think I froze an apple or something, and I wanted to see what it would look like with my new sexy camera. So I took out my lighter and started lighting it, and it's like I wanted to see what would happen. So
That's hilarious. I mean, it does look pretty cool, to be fair.
it's like I think it was my attempt at doing like a classic art house, like what the hell did I just watch kind of
Right,
movie.
right.
Like
I think you accomplished it, considering I had to stop the Q&A session to ask what we were looking at.
yeah,
Okay. Let's see. Will the Melee It On Me crew be interviewed? I mean, as far as like, will X person be interviewed? I'm sure like those questions are kind of hard to answer specifically because I'm sure Samox wants to interview a ton of people. It's just a question of whether he'll get the opportunity to, and then
yeah.
whether that footage will end up making it into the documentary as
I
well.
can say that Toph was interviewed, and I do remember having a lot of good moments with him, so he'll probably be in there.
Oh, okay,
Um,
nice.
and I can't remember any others off the bat, but there's young Gimmer and Apostle.
Um, who who is your favorite Smasher and Smash character?
I mean, Isaiah was the one who really kind of inspired me because I love Captain Falcon. And I suck at Melee competitively, but I love playing Captain Falcon. He's fun. Um, and just absolutely the way my brother described him and what got me excited about him after seeing the videos and stuff. My brother, like, the way he sold Captain Falcon to me was he's like a Corvette. So um, that's I was like, yo, I want to like play the Corvette. So we at the end of the night we'd always play Falcon Dittos on FD, and that was just kind of like the last battle that we would do if we weren't just like playing till 6 in the morning, which happened often. But yeah, Captain Falcon is my favorite Smash character, and Isaiah is probably my favorite Smasher, or at least the one who kind of inspired me
Right,
in the very beginning. So
that's what's up.
yeah.
Um, Samox, knowing that many people have seen the documentary, some having seen it multiple times, how does it feel to know that you've made such a huge impact on both the existing community and newcomers?
It's good. It's nice. I mean, it's always good to have a positive impact on people. I've gotten really heartfelt letters from people who said that they were depressed, or one reason or another they were just not having a great time in life, and then they found the Smash community because of the documentary, and they're this one guy, I can't remember his name, and I wouldn't share it anyway if I could, but
Right.
he was, saying how like he putting on these locals and stuff, and how he did really well at them, and he had felt so good, and that made me feel really good. So obviously, it's a great feeling to know that you've helped a community grow bigger. So that was honestly that was just a great side effect of this whole kind of passionate project.
Right. Yeah, man. I mean, I'm sure I've expressed this to you a billion times already, but it's so grateful for what that ended up doing for the community. And again, it's not, I mean, I had the utmost faith in you as a video producer and everything. Like, don't get me wrong, but it
Yeah.
was impossible to predict like how much of an impact it would end up having. Like no
Yeah.
matter how good like of a job that you did with it, like even when I watched it at first, like I was like, damn, this is really well made, but I
Yeah.
wasn't instantly like, oh man, this is gonna make the community blow up, you know? Like so
Yeah.
it's pretty incredible how that worked out, dude. Good stuff. Let's see.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I'll drink that.
um Hey Samox, just wanted to let you know that you're the guy that got me into this crazy damn community that we have, and I'm so happy you
There
did.
you go. There you go. Thanks, dude. Appreciate that.
Samo, this is a good question. Samox, will the next doc be more esports, or will it still be, I don't know who you are, so go suck a dick?
um, I'm definitely I'm not one to ever leave anything out. If it's let me put it this way: if Go Suck a Dick makes this documentary, a good documentary, I'm definitely taking that option over any other option. So don't need
Nice.
to worry about that. I have an artistic integrity.
uh, uh, let's see. Um, I'm trying to look for. Feel free if you are in the chat, by the way, or if you have the stream up and you see any good questions, feel free to just go for it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I haven't been looking at the questions.
Is Sam Hawks aware that he looks like Neil Patrick Harris mixed with Quentin Tarantino? Yes, he is very much aware of this.
It's
What
my
did
life.
what did Sam Hawks think of Ken when he met them? Oh yeah, so uh it seemed like you had a blast over there in Cali. Like there's a bunch of like bowling footage and probably
Yeah,
took you out to Korean barbecue and stuff. How did that go?
that was a lot of fun. It was like a day with Ken kind of thing. It was we did the bowling thing after I think it was it was one day of interviews. I remember this. I came in and we started playing um, Mugen. It was me and Monocloud and Ken. We were all like, you ever play that game Mugen? I don't know if it's called
Yeah,
Mugen
yeah,
or
yeah.
Mugen or
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like that. Yeah,
Where you can like
yeah. It's like
download extra characters and shit.
yeah, yeah, and it was really cool. Like Monocle had put in a lot of work to this specific one, and like it was really well done. He had like modded it and stuff, and it was really fun. So that was kind of like a good start to it. And the next day we started interviewing like half the day, like hours and hours, and then went off to do the bowling stuff, and then got into play, which was awesome. And yeah, I had the Korean barbecue was amazing. I think it was actually Japanese barbecue, or
Oh, okay.
I don't remember. I think it was Japanese barbecue.
Oh, okay.
Um, but I wouldn't have known the difference either way. But it was good. I'll just say that it was put meat on a thing, and it was so good. Um, but yeah,
Nice.
he was very hospitable. His family was really nice. I was actually kind of sad I left my leftovers at their place, unfortunately. So,
Mm, that is sad.
but yeah.
Um,
Oh, I just remembered something. I just remembered the question about that Mango had about his own episode.
right, right.
Um, oh yeah, I remembered. I kind of drifted off. The one of the problems was that I didn't actually get a good sit down interview with him. We ended up only interviewing for like 20 minutes at this tournament that was specifically like put on just so I could get a chance to talk with him. It was in like a bathroom and it was like bad audio. So that did influence the way that his episode ended up looking. So
Okay.
um, this time, we got a sit down for like 2.5 hours, and which is good. And we're actually going to interview again in the future, probably March, something like that. So, um, yeah,
Nice.
SoCal's great. SoCal's a awesome region.
Yeah, SoCal is amazing. I want to live in Cali.
Yeah,
Um,
everybody's going there, man.
yeah, dude, apparently. Samox, can you still pre-order slash purchase a copy of the new doc, or can you still donate to get a copy?
Yes. I mean, if you want, you can just leave me a little note if you write, like, hey, this is for what the hell was it? I don't even remember how much money was for the. Oh crap. Uh, well, let's say I'm gonna look it up right now. I can't
Okay,
just pull
yeah,
it out of
go
my
for it.
ass.
Go for it, dude. No,
Start
no worries.
here we go. Smash Brothers. Okay. Don't tell me. They get rid of the. Oh, it's comments. Show me the whole thing. Okay. So I guess if you want, this is the way I set it up. If you want a digital copy of the film, $25, send it to me through PayPal. The Smash Brothers movie or the Smash Bros movie at gmail.com. The Smash Bros movie at gmail.com. $25 gets you a digital download. 50 gets you a DVD plus the um, digital download and extra content and stuff. So that's what
Nice.
I said originally. I'm sticking with that.
Sweet.
And if you don't want to bother with that now, if you want to wait till because it's actually going to come out. It's a as a film and as a thing. I'm not even sure of the main distribution methods yet. I know I want to get it into film festivals. I know I want to have it in theaters to some level.
Yeah,
My main goal with this one would be to get it on Netflix, but we'll see.
that would be so sick.
Yeah,
And
dude.
yeah, I'll include a link to the. So the Kickstarter is no longer active, right?
That's
So
right. It's
okay.
long since
So yeah,
ended.
I'll include just like that information if you guys are interested in pre-ordering a copy, either a digital copy or a DVD of the new documentary. I'll have that information in the YouTube description when I put this up as well. So
Yeah.
that's
And
yeah.
I feel like I should mention the fact that I finally have a company that is going to be helping me produce the DVDs for the first documentary. So I'm
Oh
very
really?
slow. Yeah, because that's one of the rewards for the first documentary. The people that donated, there
All
weren't a
right.
lot of people that donated that one, but uh, they do deserve it, and they
Right.
deserve to know when they're going to get it. So I
Sweet.
have a company now, so I'm happy about
Nice. Awesome to hear. I saw one. I don't see it currently. But oh yeah, how many times have you watched the original Smash Brothers?
that.
Do you
The
lost
series.
count? Yeah.
I've watched it so many times. Mostly, I mean, I've been to I saw it live. I watched the whole thing live in in a theater. They put these guys. I forget the name of their company now. It was like GG Bay Area or something like that. But they were a great bunch of guys, and they really wanted to see it on a big screen. So they I don't remember if they flew me out. I don't think they did.
Hmm.
They might have actually. I think they did.
Oh
They flew me
wow.
out to San Francisco, and they put it on a big screen at the Roxy in downtown San Francisco, and it was amazing. I was actually kind of worried that the image quality wouldn't be that great, but it was great. It looked incredible on a big screen. Even the like crappy old footage didn't look that bad. Um, but I'd have to say I've probably seen each episode, not counting while I was editing it, uh, probably 5, 6 times. So I guess I am a big fan of it too.
Yeah. No, I mean that's totally understandable. If I had made it, I probably would have seen it by like 30 or 40 times by now.
I wanted to. The reason I wanted to make it was because I wanted to watch it. So
Yeah. Oh man, there's a great clip. Hold on, I want to back this up of Mango just walking up and giving me the double the double middle finger. Oh god, that tournament was
yeah,
so much fun. Oh my god.
that that was outrageous. I remember. Yeah, that was the original or one of the original openings that I was working on. Uh, it was just a little too slow. I think I ended up not going with that one because it was um, the music I chose for it was a little like kind of just it wasn't there.
Mm.
But I'm very glad I went with the more upbeat, the the now iconic Juicy Fruit opening.
Yeah. Yeah, it's super iconic at this point. Have you seen the Smash Pros? The
I love the Smash
parody?
Bros.
Oh,
That's
really?
yeah. I mean, if whoever asked that question clearly hasn't seen all of the Smash Bros. Because I'm actually in it. Um,
Oh, yeah.
at the very end, I'm in it. But yeah, I love it. It's great. Jim Jam Flim Flam. I actually got to meet him at Apex.
Nice.
So he's a great guy, and you know, yeah, he's really funny, and they did a great job. As soon as I saw the parody, I was like, all right, this is something. You don't get parodied if you didn't do
Yeah.
something cool.
That's when you know you made it.
Yeah.
Uh, Apparently, someone messaged you like 3 months ago about if you might translate the new doc into many languages. How is that going, and is it possible to do this?
Yeah, I mean, I support any initiatives to do it. I'm actually right now, and this is very early stages, so you know, don't look for this anytime soon. But potentially looking to translate it into Japanese.
Oh wow.
So if you speak Japanese, or if you know people that speak Japanese, they could be able to watch it in Japanese. And I want to get it dubbed, so you'll have a Japanese dub over you chilling.
Oh man, that sounds great. Let's see.
uh,
Uh, why no mention of the Wombo combo? I guess that's a
oh
fair question.
yeah, I mean it is the biggest, like, as far as the mainstream goes.
Right.
Well, I mean, partly because it's self-explanatory. It's hype because it's hype, and you don't really need to know anything else about it. And the only things that you know, it could be interesting to find out, the story behind that one moment, but
Right.
that has nothing to do with the five gods and very little to do with everything else that's kind of the focus of this project.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and in the Smash Brothers, I could have seen it actually fitting in somewhere, but the same question was asked me about the other little tiny. I did a smaller thing called like the comeback.
Oh
It's like a
yeah.
little hype. It's like 5 minutes. It's about Amsa at Renaissance of Smash 3.
Yeah.
Um, and his like four stop comeback against EK, and that was an amazing little story, but it didn't really kind of fit in the big narrative of these seven guys, and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
story of U.S. Smash, which was essentially what it was about. Um, so you know, we'll see if it's appropriate. I'll put it in there somewhere. I did have a couple of interviews with Brandon, Homemade Waffles. So
Nice.
we I think we touched on it a little bit. So if it works for the project, it'll definitely be in there.
Sweet. Sounds good. Samox, how worried were you in regards to the initial reception of the documentary?
The first episode was premiered on the Big House 3, I think,
Oh yeah.
just on the stream, and I was getting very pissed because they weren't talking about it when the Mail It On Me crew was like doing their thing. They had no idea, like that I was like under the impression that they were going to talk about it, and they had not seen it. They didn't know about it really. So, and I was like, I was kind of like, getting mad at that moment, but that was just kind of. And then when they started playing it and stuff, I kind of chilled out. But it was I wasn't really worried about it as much. I guess in retrospect, I was just like excited that it was finally out there and it was like gonna do its thing. And I quickly learned not to read YouTube comments anymore just because it's just a bad idea. Like
Yeah.
if I want to like I used to like watch Fox News if I wanted to like get some inner hate building up, but that didn't do it for me. For now, I'll just read some YouTube comments if I want to do that. Kind of mellow it out a little bit.
Nice. Um, oh yeah, that's a good question. What was the favorite place you visited during your filming?
Ooh, that's tough. I mean, SoCal's great. I love that whole crew. I think as far as places go, like that's really tough. Like through the whole, I'm assuming this is through TSB and everything. Where the hell did I go? Actually, it was really funny. One of my most beautiful times I had. I spent a lot of time on my own, and I really enjoy like sometimes being on my own. And it was actually when I was near or like in Arlington or the MDVA area, probably after or before our interview, and I went to a park in Arlington, I think, and I had a pair of shorts and it was nice weather. I just ran through the park, and it was like I found some beautiful little stream and there was like light shining through and it was gorgeous and I felt very at peace with nature. So very
Nice.
diametrically opposed to the whole like intense competition electronic stuff. Just chilling
Right.
out in nature. Um, which is I can't I think where my brain mostly likes to be, or just chilling out in my editing suite. But um, that might have been one of my favorite places to visit. But honestly, as far as like people go, it's so hard to choose because
Right.
all these Smashers in general are just like you said, just they all have this thing in common where this great kind of decision making to come to Smash. It's
Right.
like it's such a means you understand something at a certain level and
Yeah,
you're a cool dude. So
for sure. All right, it looks like the questions are slowing down a little bit, and I don't want this YouTube video to be too long either.
cool.
So I think we might wrap it up here. Thank you, Samox, so much for joining me, man. This has been a ton of fun. If people have questions for you, what's a good way to get in touch with you?
Twitter, best way to do it. Underscore Samox underscore is my Twitter handle, and yeah, that's probably the best way to do it. You can also, if you wanted to, email me directly, or something like that, you can go to the website, eastpointpictures.com has a contact page. You can just put it right there. It goes right to my email. So,
Okay.
um, so many ways to get in contact with me, and I'll try. Yeah, I suck at social media in general, but I'll try to be on top of that. I try to eventually respond to everything, even if it takes me months. I will eventually respond to you.
Right. Sweet.
So,
Sounds good. I'll have all that information, like links and stuff in the YouTube description as well, guys. So, yeah, that about wraps it up. I'm very much looking forward to the Smash Brothers Armada working title. Uh, so best of luck with that, dude, and definitely let me know when you're trying to come down to MDVA and we can
for
sit
sure,
down and talk.
for sure. I'm looking forward to it, man.
Sounds good, dude. All right, man. Thank you again for joining, and see you later, bro.
Yeah, and anybody else who's like think I'll be on Hugs' channel tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
So if I didn't answer your question, if you come up with a question tomorrow, come to Hugs' channel like 7:30 tomorrow, and you can answer it. I can answer it there.
sounds good. All right,
So,
thank you guys for tuning in. And I will catch you later, Samox.
peace.
So the stream will continue, guys. I am going to take a quick break. That was a lot of fun. Samox is a super cool dude, obviously. That was